Hey everyone, welcome on into ClayShareCon. This is the afternoon of day 4. I am Jessica Putnam Phillips, the founder of ClayShare and of ClayShareCon. This is our second annual event. Some of you were with us last year for the first ever ClayShareCon, and we're so excited that you came back and are spending the second one with us. This is 5 days of free online ceramic tutorials, education, studio tours, factory tours, some demos. We have got an after party with a raku firing. So much stuff happening during this. There's lots of promos, specials, and deals happening during this week. And we also have giveaways. Every day we're giving away dozens of prizes. So I don't know what we're doing today for giveaways. I know we're giving away some of the Georgie's interactive pigment sets. So the kits of those we're going to do a giveaway. And we have a whole bunch of other things. So hi, everybody's loving day 4. Woohoo! I love it. So today, I am going to be using some of Georgie's interactive pigments and glazes to highlight texture. And this is one of my favorite ways to do that. And you'll see many pieces in my studio use Georgie's glazes and interactive pigments. And we'll talk a bit about what the pigments are and how to use them and what glazes go best. I would like to just show you a few things. Now, I have a class on making a test tile board, and this is all with Georgie's interactive pigments. So if you buy the interactive pigment kit, all the glazes on here, you can get these results. That's in the kit. I think I might have some of my chun in here, which might not count. My chun blue glaze as a top glaze, but you get this. And what I love about this is I can say, I really want something that is a deep dark denim blue, okay, but I want it matte. Okay, but I want it to be a little bluer. Okay, that's the one. And then I pull it off and it's like, oh, that's indigo with, this one has my chun blue on it. That's why it's so blue, because it's 2 blues. This one is the indigo with Eggshell Wash. So you see, let me just hold this up really close. So you can see the texture really pops on that. So you can really see it. And this is a great way when you put a lot of time and effort into getting great texture on your pieces. This is a great way to retain it. And having this in the studio is a super handy thing. Now, before we went live, I dumped it over and all of the little tiles fell off. So they're not necessarily in order and a couple of them are missing. So I have to either remake or go find those because I don't know where they went. But this is a handy thing, and I do keep it in the studio, usually standing up on my table in a safe spot. So we'll put this down here for now so it's not in the way. I know, pretty colors from just a few things. So you have circles like that for your color samples, but you keep yours in a poker chip box. That's a great idea, and then you don't worry about losing them. So what are Georgie's interactive pigments? So the pigments that Georgie's uses are basically oxides. And they will each have a combination of oxides in them. So this happens to be their indigo pigment, and it's a combination. It probably has some cobalt in it, maybe some manganese, maybe a tiny bit of copper in it. They don't necessarily tell you, but you can get the ingredients list if you want from Georgie's, so you can get all the ingredients so you know if how safe they are or what's in them. So you can find that out. But they've mixed it so you get these really interesting combinations when you use them with Georgie's glazes. Now, you don't have to use Georgie's glazes with the pigments, but to get the best results, I have found that using them with the pigments works the best. It's kind of like most things, right? It just helps to use the same thing. And this right here is a beautiful platter I made using GR Pottery Forms, my Moroccan tile texture, so you can see that texture on that. Look at how beautiful that texture is. And the indigo pigment with super clear on top. So it creates this really nice weathered but glossy deep blue. I can still see all my texture, and I have a beautiful little plate right here. So I love this. This is one of my faves to do for combinations. Now I have a few other things I'm going to show you just so you can see how versatile these are. You can use one pigment with multiple glazes. So this is the Autumn Foliage pigment with multiple glazes, and I'll tell you what they are as we go. This is Autumn Foliage pigment with the Eggshell Wash glaze from Georgie's. This is, maybe I can hold multiple up. This is the Autumn Foliage pigment with Perfect White. That's another glaze from Georgie's. And then the last one I have is their zinc-free clear. So this is autumn foliage with zinc-free clear. So you can kind of see how one pigment and different results depending on what you use for glazes. And you can use all kinds of glazes and see what happens. The Eggshell Wash is kind of a matte glaze, so you get a different finish. The Perfect White is a semi-opaque glaze, but yet we're still seeing, look at how beautiful that is. And they do come in a sample size, so I'm going to show you. I have a little box over here. You can get a kit, a pigment kit, and we're giving away one today, where you get all 8 of Georgie's pigments, because that's how many there are. There are 8 of them. So you get all 8 of them in these little bottles, and you get 4 of Georgie's glazes in that kit. And that is a really great deal. It's always marked down. They sell it as a kit. It's always on a huge discount. That's how when I first started buying Georgie's pigments, I would just buy the sample kits over and over. I would just order a couple at a time and just have them. And I do have favorites, but everybody has different tastes, so you'll have to check them out. You can go to georgies.com. That's their website, and you can see all of the possibilities with the pigments. And so you were at Georgie's the other day, and you told them that they told them you had said hello and that we are having fun. Yes, we are. We sure are. So you can just get these right here. So they show, yeah, I will agree with Libby. She said it shows texture better than anything else. Yep, I will, nope, there'll be no argument from me. For example, here's a cheese board I made. There's a cheese board class on Clayshare. And look at how fabulous. This is a hosta leaf from the hosta that grows right outside of my studio. It's not a big one, it's a medium-sized hosta. But this one right here, I use the autumn foliage pigment, and then I put Eggshell Wash on top. And I'm going to show you how I do that on some other pieces. But it's really subtle. This is glazed. This is, so I can use this as a cheese board, and plus it hangs, so it can hang on the wall. All right, we're going to switch out mic packs on me. Let's go.
Come right this way.
They'll just give it to me.
Okay.
You didn't want the other one? All right, so I see no matter what glazes, does that mean the glazes? So
hang on, I got you.
I switched back to the other one. So of course you have me. Sorry, we're having technical difficulty right now. I'll go to the other one. Kev, the linear doesn't. There's no sound because we turned sound off for a second while we switched out the mic packs. That's why there's no sound. Hold on. Sometimes this happens when you live broadcast nonstop for hours on end. You have to switch out mic battery packs. Like mic packs go dead and you got to switch. So no sound. Nope, no sound. Is it back? Sound was back, but now it's gone. Are we back? No sound.
Sound is back.
Sound is back. All right. Back. Back. Okay. Hold on. Yes. I had to switch out this pack because the other one died. We have to have 2 full sets of mic packs in order to make this work because there's just no other way. All right, so I'm seeing lots of questions about the Georgie's interactive pigments. Think of it as a stain. So you put it on, and you can use other companies' glazes, but if it's a thick, opaque glaze, it will obscure it potentially. So you want still translucent glazes, but this highlights your texture. So. And I see no sound, yes, no, yes, no. All right, we're going to move on from the sound. The sound should be good. Let me show you this platter I did with Georgie's Sand and Surf pigment. And then I used another Georgie's glaze. This is their Satin Clear. So you can see the surface doesn't have a high glass. It has a beautiful satiny finish, which sort of gives us a vintagey feel. And this was a piece of lace I used to make this platter. And you can see every ounce of this lace, every single ounce of this lace. And where I went thicker with the glaze, it's a little more opaque. And I wanted that feel because I wanted a vintage look to this. So I wanted some areas to be slightly faded. If you didn't want that, you could just go ahead and use a clear. And if you use the clear, you would have a crisp finish. You wouldn't have that vintage look. Now, let me show you from my garlic keeper class, we have a garlic keeper. This is made with autumn foliage pigment and eggshell wash as the glaze. Look how beautiful that is. It shows every bit of the detail on this. My little garlic bulbs, and you can see the top and everything. So I love this combo. This is probably my favorite combo from the interactive pigment line, the autumn foliage with the eggshell wash. My second favorite is sand and surf with the super clear, or you can use zinc free clear. Both look really great. So can you use the Mako stain similarly? You sure can. You can use any stain to stain texture. You could use Mako stains. You could buy just some cobalt or some copper or some red iron oxide and use those. You could get the Georgies. You could go ahead and use underglazes as a stain for texture, which I do all the time. Speedball, underglaze, Mako. You can even use a glaze to stain for texture. So you could put a glaze on and wipe back and then put another glaze on top. As long as that glaze fills in the recessed areas, it's going to highlight that texture. So there's so many possibilities with using something to stain for texture. So could you use a tinted Celadon over the washes? Yes, you can. And each glaze will have a different effect. And it's called interactive pigment because the pigments, Georgie's pigments, interact with Georgie's glazes in a certain way. But they will interact with other glazes too. You just have to test them out. So again, that kit comes in these little small sizes. The kits are not discounted because they already are almost half off. These are basically being sold always at half off. So you cannot have an extra discount, but we do have a Clayshare Con discount on the individual pints. So if you knew you love a certain pigment, like I love autumn foliage and I love the indigo and the sand and surf, I actually just got the indigo, I just bought that, you can stock up now and save. So we'll get that code for you and we'll put that up. Kevin just put it in the comment section. And so what you do when you order from Georgie's, it's a little tricky ordering from them. Put in the comments section on your order that what the code is and that you want the Clayshare Con discount. Alrighty, so we're going to do a couple fun things today. We've got a great big platter that I'm going to do. We're going to do this large and lovely rooster platter together. And then I am going to do this tray I made, and we're going to use a whole bunch of different pigments all in one. So we're going to basically make a test board on one piece. And we'll use one glaze on top, but we'll do all different pigments. So it's going to be crazy. And Georgie's has a chart with all the pigments on it. Yes, they do. And if you go to their website, you will find a lot more information. They have a great sheet. Let's see if I have it right here. Hold on, I'll look in my magic drawer where I keep everything. I have a Georgie's pigment, there it is. I have a Georgie's pigment sheet right here. And so you can go ahead to Georgie's website and you can print this out. This is the pigment kit right here. And it shows you all of the glazes and all the pigments that come in the kit, and they show various ways that you can use them. So you can print this out from their website right now, and it's super simple, super easy. And I am going to be doing sand and surf, and I've circled, so you can do it with super clear or zinc free clear. I've circled it. We're going to go ahead and do it with super clear. I like the super clear better, and that's what we're going to do on the big platter. So I think we'll start with the big platter and then we'll do the little one. So we'll do super clear with the sand and surf pigment, which is right here. How do the pigments do at cone 5? The pigments themselves can go to any temperature you want. It's just the glazes. This is a cone 5-6 glaze kit. That means your pigments the 8 pigments you get, they can go to any temperature, but the glazes you're getting are a 5-6 glaze, just so you know. But I would say at low fire, the pigments will work. There's no reason they wouldn't, because they are all natural minerals that we use anyways in ceramics. So yeah, they'd be fine. Kev, if you get a sec, can you get me a dish? Because I need to thin this down. This is a brand new. When you get these pigments are highly concentrated. You do not use them straight. I mean, there's techniques where you can use them straight, but you need to thin them down. And I'm sorry, this just came. The box just came, and I didn't unpack it until right before we went live. So you can have, I've not tried them myself, low fire, no. And will you grab me, I got these will work, I need scissors. I haven't tried them low fire. I don't do low fire in my studio often. I haven't done it since February 2019 was the last time I did a low fire glaze firing. So for me, I don't do a lot of low fire pieces, but I know a lot of you do. So folks out there who might have used this at low fire, will you go ahead and chime in and say what you found for your results? I also don't do much cone 10 anymore either. So are the pigments just oxides or underglazes? They are oxides, but it's a combination. It's not just one. So with the Mako washes, they are just manganese, and that's all that's in there. There's just cobalt, and that's all that's in there. There's just copper, and that's it. They don't have other things in there. With the Georgies, they've mixed a few things in there, so it's not just one. I should have had an assistant open this for me. I'm sitting here. I will have my assistant open up my my super clear so that I don't have to do it on camera while I can work. So because these are...
People want to know what you like about the super clear as opposed to the zinc.
Okay, so the super clear on this one is less green, and I really like the finish of the super clear versus the zinc. It's a personal preference. The zinc-free clear I like on some things, the super clear I like on others. And that's why I say you need to make this board. Because when you have your test tile board, you can pick out a glaze and you can look at it and you can say, I love this one. What clear is this? This is the super clear. I like it better than, say, the zinc-free clear. So here is, actually they're backwards. This top one, the top one is super clear. The bottom is zinc-free clear. Do you see the difference? The top one is browner, the bottom is greener. So this is autumn foliage on the top is super clear. Autumn foliage on the bottom is zinc-free clear. Let me put this down, I'll hold them up.
Does the zinc and the super clear interact with the pigments?
Yes, they interact differently. Look at the difference. Look at the difference we're getting here. This one here is the super clear. This one here is the zinc-free clear. Both of them are the autumn foliage. You see? So there's slightly different tones coming across. So this is why you should make, this one's greener. The zinc-free clear is greener. The super clear is browner. Different things react differently. So I always suggest you go ahead and make yourself real, like things you can hold. Pieces of paper are fabulous for a reference to gauge for, I might buy it, but when I look at these two, I mean, look at the two there on the paper. It's very subtle. It's hard to tell the difference. In my hands, in my studio, fired in my kiln, I know the results I'll get. This is why testing is so important. And I do have samples of both clears on the indigo. Yes, because I made the board. I have samples of every single one of them with every possible glaze that Georgie offers in the kit. So both of the clears on the indigo, this is the zinc-free, and this one is the super. So I'll show them to you. But I'm going to tell you, make your own. There's a ton of combos. We can't go through all these. But if you look at my class on making your own test tile board, or using, I think it's called Using Georgie's Interactive Pigments is the actual class. But if you go look at that class, it's all there and we go through all of them. And I do them all with you. So indigo pigment wiped back and then on top has been applied super clear, zinc-free clear, super clear, zinc-free clear. So they're very close, but there are slight differences. So you pick out the one you like the best. So that's really the best advice I can give you all, is to do tests, and not just with the Georgies, with everything out there. All these products that we've been using and all these demos, if you saw something you want to try out at home, you need to go ahead and test it out yourself. Because what I do and how I fire can be different. All right, so the pigments are highly concentrated. You're going to want to thin them down. It depends. Sometimes I cut mine half and half. Sometimes it's 30-70. It just depends. 30% water, 70 pigment. It depends how the pigment is as far as thickness. So this, I got the overhead on, we'll go with that. This has a very watery consistency in this jar. So I'm probably only going to do a 30, and it's an eyeballed 30. So I have a little container over here. This is the sand and surf. Stir it up first before you pour it off because it all settles. All the little minerals settle. You've heard me talk about zinc-free clear is preferred. Oh, so why would you want zinc-free clear? Zinc interacts with things. Zinc can also eat away at things. Zinc can eat away at underglazes. That's where you've heard me say that. So I prefer a zinc-free clear when I'm doing underglaze work. For pigments, all bets are off. We can add whatever we want. We can use zinc. We can do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm going to put about 30% water in here, eyeballing it. Maybe 25 with this one. It's really watery already. So because these are a pigment, which are raw minerals, and I'm going to be dipping my hands in a bucket of water that's going to be saturated with them, I'm going to wear gloves to protect my hands. But first I'm going to apply the pigment. So let's get you where you can see. I'm not going to put any on the back. I'm only going to put it on the front. So what happens when one uses a matte clear? Well, that's what I was showing you with the satin clear or the eggshell wash. So if you missed that, put it back on the front and I will show you. Here is an eggshell wash, which is a matte clear. It's not, so I'm just going to say there's no such thing as a true matte clear. The things that have to go in a matte glaze will opacify it. They make it more opaque. So there's no way for a true matte, just so you know. Your clear is going to be satiny glossy normally. So this is called Eggshell Wash from Georgie's. And you see, that's what it looks like. This is super clear, same pigment. So you get the same pigment, two different looks. Yeah, there's no such thing as a clear matte. It really is slightly opaque. So let's put this on, and I'm going to do one pigment on the entire piece. And you just brush it on. You can sponge it on. Some people like to use a sponge and dab it in. It goes a bit faster. And I think I had a sample kit that lasted me 3 years once because they're so concentrated and you thin them down so much that you don't use them that quickly. The glazes itself you'll need to buy more, but the actual pigments, they last. The super clear with the autumn foliage is gorgeous. I agree with you. I love it. So I'm not worrying about putting this on the areas that don't have texture yet, because that would just get brushed off anyhow. We'll go back and we'll do something with the rim after. This is a great big awesome plate. I changed my mind. I am going to do the rim. I just won't wipe back very heavily on that. There. Brush it on. So once you get the pigments on, well, you can leave it full strength like I just did, but I like to stain it and wipe it back, and that makes the texture pop more. So we're going to go ahead and wipe back, and I'm going to put on a pair of just nitrile gloves. And I'm going to grab my bucket over here. The mat is hauntingly beautiful. It is. I have a cup, a mug I made with it, and I just adore it. All right, so you squeeze your sponge out really well, starting in the center, and we're just going to wipe away. And you can already see the texture popping. turn your sponge over, and you'll notice your sponge getting dirtier. So you'll squeeze it back out, and then wipe away some more. So if you love lace like I love lace, you are going to love these pigments because I feel they go hand in hand with lace. I also love using speedball underglazes to stain too, if you want a colorant. And recently, I have started using the Mako stroking coats to stain, which I love those too. So lots of love happening here. So this pigment was sand and surf. Sand and surf. And I can hold the bottle up when we get done. Sand and surf tends to be a little greener. It has a bit more copper in it than the autumn foliage. The autumn foliage, I believe, has more iron. So when these pigments are applied to the surface and they are wiped back and then a food-safe glaze is applied on top, they are considered food safe. If you put them on full strength without wiping back, I would not consider them food safe, even with a food safe glaze on top. So you want to make sure that when you're using these, you use them appropriately. And I'm leaving pigment in the recessed areas on the sides here a bit. And although it looks like I wiped a lot off, it's not. And I'm going to hold this up to the front camera in a sec because I think you all will see it much better. Maddie will flip it to the front. So look at that. Look at how great Mr. Rooster looks. He looks pretty snazzy. Looks great to me. So if you have any areas that you notice where the pigment looks like it's a little thicker and you want to go in and touch it up and wipe back a little bit, you just take your sponge and you just, I find the further you hold it away, you can see those spots. Yeah, go ahead. I got the answers.
Karen wants to know how you decide whether to use pigments or underglaze.
It depends. An underglaze is going to give you a color, right? If you pick a color, pigments are going to be more in the neutral tones. So this is what I want for my aesthetic. I really love this look here. I don't know if I even have a piece with this combo on it currently around because I never get to keep anything with it. So it's just up to you. I have done, Kev, I don't know if you want to walk over and get me any of the lace pieces I've done with speedball colored underglazes. So you can see how lace looks with a color added. Probably maybe a cake stand, maybe a plate. I don't know what's over there. There might be a doily plate over there somewhere. He's gone. We'll never see him again. Yeah, the rooster stands out beautifully. He really pops, doesn't he? And now I was talking about the rim. I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to wipe it off so it doesn't drip too much. And I'm going to brush a little heavier on the rim. Now, we were talking about wiping back to make it food safe. Well, the rim isn't a place people are going to be eating off of, so we don't have to worry. I could do gold luster on this rim if I wanted to, which technically is food safe too. You make a little mess. Go clean it up. So I'm just holding the brush sideways and dragging it along that rim on the outside edge of the rim. Just like that. And then if there's any areas that I'm not happy with that I want to touch up, just go in and take care of that. Pretty easy. So this needs to set for a few minutes and dry. Great, you're the best. Kevin.
Let me get back to the phone.
Okay. So Kevin just brought me one of my cake stands made with a lace doily right here, and you can see right there. Do you see the front, how the lace right there? This is with speedball underglazes. So you see a color popping instead, and there's also on the inside, I did color as well on the foot. And you can hand build one of these in my class on making a cake stand, but this is a color option. This one's actually a second. That's why it's still in the studio. I have to. Uh-huh. No, I can stay over here. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right, so this one's done, and I'm going to let it set and dry for a minute. And while that's doing that, we're going to use this tray, and I'm going to grab a bunch of pigments, and I'm going to go ahead and do some testing with them. So let's grab a few. What do we got? Golden straw. Let's see. Sand and surf. Winter storm's a good one. Steel black is a fun one. Tree bark is a good brown if you like browns. Let's see what else we got over here. I think that's all I have over here, and I've got the indigo already. So I think what we'll do is, and I think I brought, did I bring my autumn foliage? Yeah. So my plan is this. We're going to take this tray and we're going to make it like a quilt. So we're going to take our pigments, and since I already have sand and surf out, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 squares, 12 pigments. I'm going to just use 6. So let's pick 1 to do the sand and surf in. And so I'm just going to brush the pigment in 1 square. Just like that. 2. We'll do 1 up here too. And then we'll move on. I'll swish out my brush. This is the first class you can watch and comment. Yay! All right. So can I please provide the link to Sharon Hoppy? Oh, so Sharon Hoppy's website is sharonhoppydesigns.com. And I don't know if Kev can type that in. Here's the autumn foliage. I've already thinned this down in the bottle, so I'm not thinning it down again. A lot of times I will do that so that I don't have to thin again. So as I use them, you get less in the bottle, and so you just add your water to it, and it makes it easier. And this is a fun way to test stuff out. We'll put 1 up there too, because we got that edge. Do they use oxides or stains? These are oxides in this, not stains. No, no stains, just oxides. So that was Eggshell Wash and Sand and Surf. Let's grab indigo here. Oh, this one's not open either. Yeah, you want to do that for me, and I'll move on to something else.
Yeah, because they're taped shut.
I know, they're so fussy, aren't they? I've got steel black, which is really thick. I have to thin that down. Can the extra colorant be returned to yes, they can be returned, and that's what I will do. The other thing you can do is you can just start some containers, put a label on it, put the lid on, and then the thinned down version lives in a container for you. So you don't have to worry about, let me water this down a bit more. That's really, really thick. So you don't have to worry about wasting any. You shouldn't waste, right? Nobody wants to waste stuff.
Some serious tape to use.
Yeah, I know. They're like, it's going nowhere. So these look the same right now, but you wait till they're done. They're going to look completely different. Here. Decisions, right? And this one I'm using right now is the steel black. And I sometimes accidentally flick, make a little mess. Just clean that up. There.
So when you thin that pigment down, what consistency are you looking for?
But you want it like thin ink, really thin, very watery, almost like a watercolor. And that's what I go for. So if you look at this one here, it's really thin. Now I'm going to pour this back in. I'm going to swirl, because those pigments, these pigments are really heavy. Look how they've settled to the bottom. There's like a sediment in there of pigments. So you swirl it to release it from the bottom, and then just pour them out. And then I'll rinse the container out, and I can use it for something else, or I would have labeled it and put them away. So let's keep going, because we got other things we want to do. Tree bark. I want to put some tree bark on there. I don't use tree bark a lot. It's not that I don't like the tree bark. I think the tree bark's great. I don't think about it very much, which I'm sorry. I'm sorry, tree bark. I don't think of you often. The same thing with the straw. I've never really got the straw to be spectacular for me. It's not bad, it just never works fabulously. Can I show the winter storm on my little test tile board? I've got to grab one. Hold on. I can. I mean, I could be here all day grabbing little test tiles. We don't want to do that, do we? No. So, you know what? I'm not going to do it because they're not wanting to come off the board and I don't want to waste our time. But if I get done in time, I will show the whole board and we can go through it. We can talk about them. So the tree bark's like a brown. Winter Storm is like an indigo, except it has brownish undertones to it. I actually can show you easier on this. The Winter Storm, if you want to go to the front camera, the Winter Storm is right there. So I'm just going to hold that up and you can see it. If you're watching on a smart device, you can screen capture, right, and save it so that you have this. You can also go to georgies.com and search interactive pigments, and this page will come up and you'll see them yourself. So it'll be easy, and you won't have to worry about not seeing what you want to see. So that was, now we're going to do, we did steel black. This one's the Winter Storm, so the other one was steel black. And we'll put that on. It's crazy how they look when you start compared to where they end up. And I'm going to have a couple extra slots. What will we put in that? I think I'm going to have 2 extra slots on here. So I'll have to figure out what we do with that spot and that spot. What's this one? Oh, we did. Yeah.
Will these show up on red or brown clay?
So they don't show up very well. No, not really. You really need a light clay. You could put a slip on first and fire, you know, if you'd done a slip piece, but they really need contrast. You need something. So if you imagine a blue, a dark blue on a dark clay, you're not going to see much, right? You're just going to have dark blue and dark brown clay. It doesn't show that well. I guess we'll use the straw. I feel bad not using it, because it's like something's wrong with it. Let me find out where I put it. It's just, I don't particularly love it. It's a very light yellowy color. I don't even know where I put it now. There it is. No.
Which one are you looking for?
Straw.
Is it big or a little?
It's a little. I just had it. I just had it and I was like, I don't like that one. And then it got mad and left, I think. Indigo, we did. If you want to check my wall, I might have one over there. And so I'm going to show you on this, the golden straw. It's the second one in. I have never found the golden straw to be really golden for me. And I'll show you on my board. We'll grab the board up. Here are my golden straw test tiles. This row, hold on, this row right here is the golden straw row. It's not bad. They're just very light. They're very light. They don't pop. They don't have that wow. And I think that's why I've just stayed away from it, because I really like the wow part. All right. So what is golden straw? What number do I call it? It's 2. I don't have a 2. I do have a 2. It's right here in front of me. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. All right. Golden straw. Very yellowy. Supposed to be. Never has been, but we might get lucky and get yellowy this time. It got mad and left, right? It happens. All right. I think that's good. Isn't that crazy looking? Look at that. So now I'm going to clean my brush, put my glove back on because I'm going in the bucket. I'm going to wipe them all off at the same time. I'm not going to worry about contamination. A little bit of contamination on the edge is fine, and I actually want that because it'll blend one color into the other. Golden straw I have not tried on dark clay, mostly because the pigments are recommended to use on a lighter clay, but I don't know. Maria Sampson, if she's watching, maybe use it straight. I think use it straight for sculptural purposes. would be best. If Maria's watching, Maria is the go-to guru when it comes to using these pigments. She's the one who first told me about them, showed me how to use them at an Ensika. I don't know which one it was. Milwaukee, maybe? No, it was before then. It was, what was the one I went to where I took the train? Went through Chicago. What's right above Chicago? Straight above. That was the one that I met. Is it Milwaukee? Okay, so he knows. I'm not doubting. I don't know. And so we have a little run over from one pigment to the other. But it's so fun. So this would be a fun way to test all your pigments. I would make a chart on a separate sheet of paper writing what you used in each square. Because if not, you are not going to know what you did. All right, so let's see. Do we want to use zinc-free clear or super clear on all of these? I think super clear looks better. I personally think super clear works better on all of them. Let's see. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go with the super clear because I'm driving the boat. And let me grab one of my brushes. So the super clear, oh, my super clear has done a hard pan. No! And this is brand new in the jar. Look it. This is called hard panning, folks. We were talking about that earlier today. What is hard panning? And that happens when you have a glaze that settles. Normally they settle out when they have too much water in them. And I'm not sure if this one happened because it froze maybe. Let's scooch on to another clear. Let's see what we got. Let's try my zinc-free clear. Maybe we're doing that. You want to open that for me? My chicken said super clear. I know, did you hear him? It's such a bummer. I'm going to see if I can stir this. It's like cheese. It's like cheese consistency in here. Yeah, Tarvan 7. It should not do this. You should not have to add a deflocculant to a pint jar of mixed glaze. It should already have that in it. And it never does this to me except only when I'm doing live ClayShareCon broadcasts. I think the glaze would be fine if I mixed it up. I don't know. Will my mixer fit into this tiny jar? I mean, it might just fit in.
It'll create such a vortex that it'll all volcano out of there.
That's no fun.
Well,
it's ruined. The day's over. No, I have a satin clear. I might have Kev grab. I have got a satin clear, translucent satin. We'll do that.
Here's this one.
So this, my dears, is how our glaze should look. Look at, even this is a little thick, but even if it's thick, it should not have turned into a lump of cheese. I'm wondering if my glaze froze because lately they've been just leaving them in the snowbank under my mailbox. Like, I'm not kidding. On the road where the snowplow goes by, the mail service, the United Postal Service, has just been putting my boxes in the snowbank. We can have it. It helps to see it. So good news is the zinc-free clear, it's doing the same thing. I think they froze. They froze. All of my glazes I just ordered froze. They froze. You want to just open this Eggshell Wash to confirm if it's the same way. So the pigments are fine. The glazes froze. Can you save them? Yes. Is it a bit of work? Yes. You need to mix them up, possibly re-sieve, and put them back in the jars and they'll be fine. But I don't have time to do that right this minute. So we are going to use the translucent satin instead because I have it and it works. But I'm not going to put it on my chicken because that has to be That one has to be super clear. I've made that piece just for it. So we might not glaze that one during this. And I'll be sad, but you know. What time are we done? 3:15? You paying attention to the time? My time guy's paying no attention. I'm already over. So let's quickly glaze this. I would just clean your back. It's a clear glaze. Just going to brush on one super fast coat of this translucent satin. So those looking for a matte-ish glaze, this is going to give it to you. It won't have a lot of shine. One coat on the back is all we need. And then we're going to do 2 coats on the front, but I'm just going to show you one since you're on the overhead, right? Since we're over. We're over time. So see how this is going on, the consistency of it? That's how you want it to be. If you're using this and it's a little too thick, you're not going to get really even, consistent results. So 1 coat, get the sides too. And I have to end this broadcast because guess what? We're doing Amico glazes next. We're going to be right back. So you'll have to wait till the next kiln opening to see how this turns out. I guess we'll go back to the front. So we will see. I will do a second coat just like I did, and that's it. And then on the chicken platter that I'm going to do, I'm just going to do the super clear 2 coats the same way as I showed you here. We're just going to brush it on. And if I can find any, I don't think I have any more super clear. I think that was all I had. If I can reconstitute what's in that jar, we'll see if I can stick it on a broadcast sometime soon. We'll get that done. All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out, learning about Georgie's Interactive Pigments. Make yourself a Georgie's pigment board or a textile board of any sort. I have to now go through and reorganize my pigments because they're a bit of a mess. But you all have a great afternoon, and I'll see you in a few more minutes.